and welcome to CATSweek. I'm Annalise Poorman. During the January 29th COVID-19 press conference, County Health Administrator Penny Caudill said Monroe County remains under an orange advisory level, according to the Indiana State Department of Health. She said the advisory would remain for at least 2 weeks.
So Monroe County is still in orange in terms of that advisory map. So when you look at that metrics map, there are multiple maps, right? So the advisory map is what guides restrictions, and that is what we are currently under. We must stay there for 2 weeks. So if you look at the metrics map, we are in yellow, only really because our cases per 100,000 are stabilizing, but they are still high. Our positivity rate is what's kind of bringing that down. So that's good news. But keep in mind, we have to stay in yellow for at least 2 weeks before we can actually come out of that orange advisory area.
Caudill said Kroger locations are now administering the COVID-19 vaccine and that all patients must have a valid appointment to receive the vaccine from a Kroger clinic. County Commissioner Julie Thomas said township trustees are still providing monetary assistance to residents for rent and utility payments. Emergency Management Director Allison Moore said trustees could be contacted online.
If you are someone that would like some of that assistance, but you don't know what township you're in, or you don't have their contact information, we do have all the township telephone numbers on our emergency management page, co.monroe.in.us. And we actually have a sheet that has different locations where you can pick up masks, and all of those townships and their telephone numbers are listed on that sheet. So if you do need a mask, or you would possibly need assistance and don't know who to call, those phone numbers are on there. Or if you don't know what township you're in, you can always give any of our government offices a ring, and we will be more than happy to let you know who you do need to call if we can help in any way.
IU Health South Central Region President Brian Shockney said COVID-19 inpatient numbers continued to decrease. He said Indiana was the leading state in the country for people fully vaccinated and the second state for total vaccines administered per 100 people. City Attorney Chris Wheeler requested approval for a mutual aid agreement with the Indiana Water and Wastewater Agency Response Network from the Bloomington Utilities Service Board. Wheeler spoke about the agreement during their February 1st meeting.
What this agreement is doing is allowing for the utilities, all three of them, to enter into a reciprocal aid agreement with other municipal and public utilities that are in this agreement compact, if you will, so that when any individual utility is faced with an emergency of whatever kind, it can reach out and receive aid through other municipal and public utilities in the form of manpower, vehicular power, supplies, and whatnot.
Wheeler said any aid provided would be reimbursed. Director Vic Kelson said the agreement was part of CBU's response to the America's Water Infrastructure Act of 2018.
One of the things that being in a reciprocal organization like InWarren does for us is it reduces our risk in the event of disaster, which is good for the utility. And that's the main reason that we'd like to participate.
The Utilities Board unanimously approved the mutual aid agreement. The Bloomington Redevelopment Commission approved an agreement with Ignition Arts for a Trades District Gateway art piece during their February 1st meeting. Assistant Director for the Arts, Sean Starowitz, said artist Stefan Reis of Germany was the chosen artist and Ignition Arts was hired to install the artwork.
Ignition Arts is based out of Indianapolis. They're a great fabrication firm that has really been is internationally known for public art fabrication. So this is the first time we were able to marry an artist who had not had a lot of public art experience with actual fabricators to kind of pull off the project. So it's a really kind of nice closed loop kind of project in that sense.
Starwitz said the artwork would be located at the Trades District Plaza on 10th Street. Commissioner Cindy Konarny asked Starwitz about maintenance costs.
Is there any ongoing maintenance?
We do budget that into the project. So we actually have on retainer between 5 and 10% of the total budget that we kind of hold back. We started doing that when I came into this position. We are still working that because the piece has been significantly scaled to meet the site more appropriately, and there's less LED maintenance. But that is of major concern for myself, my department, and overseeing the design of that and kind of the rescaling. There's issues with lawn care providers, right? So we're not going to have any grass around the piece, unfortunately, just because of, that could cause some consistent maintenance concerns. So we don't have an annual budget impact. The lifespan of the LEDs are graded pretty well, 10 plus years. So I don't see there's no major red flags when it comes to the design. We've already kind of vetted that process out as we've kind of scaled the piece appropriately for that site.
Konarny clarified of the approximately $90,000 project, about 5% of the costs would be reserved for maintenance. Starwitz said the artwork is scheduled to be installed by the end of 2021. The Bloomington Board of Public Works discussed a memorandum of understanding with City of Bloomington Utilities for traffic signal construction costs during their February 2nd meeting. Board member Dana Palazzo said construction would occur at the intersection of 3rd and Lincoln Streets. Engineer Neil Copper spoke about the improvements.
This is related to the City of Bloomington Utilities larger culvert reconstruction project between 2nd and 4th Street. As a part of that project, the existing traffic signal would be removed. That signal is old and needed to be replaced anyway. So the engineering department coordinated with City of Bloomington Utilities to replace and improve that signal in coordination with the project.
Copper said the project would cost about $228,000. Contractor Josh Burns said construction is projected to begin in June of this year. The board unanimously approved the MOU. And we will have more CATSweek after this message.
I'm at risk of thinking there's just no point in trying.
I'm at risk of looking in the mirror and hating what I see.
I'm at risk of regretting what I do, just to join the crowd.
I'm at risk of being told not to tell. And you would never know it by looking at me.
But with Girls Inc. in my corner,
There for me, every day, believing in me.
Showing me what's possible.
I can be strong enough to respect myself and my body.
to say I can rather than I can't,
To say no with no apology.
To be a leader.
to finish school.
To own my future.
To break the cycle.
Girls Inc. believes every girl can succeed. That's why the trained professionals of Girls Inc. are there for our girls every day, supporting, mentoring, and guiding them in a safe, girls-only environment. Building bonds that last for years and change that lasts a lifetime. Girls Inc. gives girls the tools they need to boldly face challenges, to resist peer pressure, to be the first in their families to go to college, to beat the odds. With Girls Inc. in her corner, every girl can be healthy, confident, and resilient. She'll do more than dream about her potential. She'll reach it.
With you in my corner.
With you in my corner, I will not be another statistic.
I will fight for myself.
For my future.
With you in my corner, I will win.
Fuel her fire and she will change the world. Girls Inc. Inspiring all girls to be strong, smart, and bold.
Welcome back to CATSweek. The Monroe County Personnel Administration Committee reviewed the Wagoner, Irwin, and Shaley, or WIS, recommendation for the county fleet and building manager positions during their February 2nd meeting. Council Administrator Kim Schell said WIS classified the job as a professional, administrative, technological job in the 5th category.
The reclassification came back as what we expected, which was a recommendation as a PAT 5. But to note that because the reclassification of the entire job descriptions have not been completed, that is the lowest that this position will be classified with regards to the entire reclassification.
According to a 2006 WIS classification summary, a PAT 5 classified job would receive a salary of approximately $33,000 to $43,000. Committee member Marty Hawk said the county GIS coordinator position was also ranked as a PAT 5 position. Commissioner's Administrator Angela Purdy spoke about effects on the approved salary budget.
In our 2021 budget, we already have budgeted in our county general fleet building line $15,150 and a portion of the full-time health, because you did approve the position of a mechanic. Obviously this position is higher than what the perceived position was going to be for a mechanic, so we would actually need to get an additional.
Purdy clarified approximately 1/4 of the job salary could be paid for through the public safety local income tax. Committee members unanimously accepted the classification. Council members will take a final vote on the fleet and building manager position during their February 9th meeting. The Monroe County Board of Health discussed COVID-19 vaccinations during their February 2nd meeting. Monroe County Health Administrator Penny Cottle spoke about appointment scheduling.
So if you go to the vaccine site to schedule an appointment, you'll see the map and it will list out all 6 locations for vaccine. So 4 of which are Kroger, 1 is the Med Art Center with hospital, 1 is us at the convention center. And then when you click on that, then you essentially go to the platform to make that appointment. So if you choose to go to Kroger, then you're going to get their platform and make it in terms of what they have available.
Cottle said each vaccine vial holds 10 vaccination doses. She said the weekly wait list makes sure no vaccine goes unused.
If you end up at the end of the day, you may have to open that vial to do 2 more vaccines, and now you have 8 that you need to give. You have 8 more vaccines you need to give. So that's where that wait list, that standby list comes in. We did start that list. People can go online starting on each Sunday and register. And I know that may seem like a pain to have to do that each week, but keep in mind that we have had over 5,000 names in a week. And things will change each week. So whether or not you're available to come, if you're on that call list and we call you, we need you there safely in 10 minutes, right? In less than 30 minutes, because keep in mind now the clinic is getting ready to close. We're at the end of the day. We have volunteers and people there. So, and then you have to go through the process, which is pretty quick. But then you've got to wait at least 15 minutes, maybe 30 after your vaccine to make sure you don't have a reaction.
Cottle said wait-listed individuals are chosen based on the state's eligibility requirements and at-risk status. Immunizations coordinator Jay McKelly said there have been no severe reactions from any individual who received the vaccination. She said the County Convention Center site has 5 vaccinators.
we don't have many, we don't really have any hospital employees working at the clinic. They're either through our public health clinic staff or volunteers, a lot of retired nurses.
Excellent.
Cottle said that volunteers without medical experience are also needed for vaccination clinics. During the February 3rd Monroe County Commissioners' meeting, County Attorney Dave Schilling proposed an amendment to the stormwater system fee establishment procedures. He said the amendment would change the fee structure language to complement the statutory language.
Previously, when the county first established its stormwater fee in 2010, I believe, or 11, the county imposed limitations on itself relating to the imposition of the fee. For example, the fee had to be established at least 6 months before it was collected, and that the fee could not increase by more than 3% per year. And so those provisions, which are not required by statute, would be removed by this amendment.
Schilling said the amendment would also allow stormwater fees to be increased with respect to the cost of service. Commissioner Lee Jones said impervious surfaces created an increased demand for stormwater funds.
And I'd also like to point out that since the fee was originated in 2010, a whole lot more of impervious surfaces have been created in our county, and this is a lot of what's causing drainage problems. So the more impervious surfaces, the worse the flooding, and the more money we need to spend on it.
Jones said the amendment would bring the county into accord with state statute. Commissioner Julie Thomas said climate change has also impacted the need to increase stormwater fees. She said fees would not be increased without reasonable cause.
I think it's better to address the needs as they come along rather than to just automatically raise it 3% every year just to follow this guideline. So I think it makes sense on a number of levels. And in that way, you're not getting increased just because we should have one, because it's been 10 years, we need to do this increase. It's better to see what's needed and then to vet that need. And in this case, it's multiple and it's getting projects done.
Thomas said completed projects would benefit all county residents. The commissioners unanimously approved the amendment. And we will have more CATSweek after this message.
Let's talk about sex.
What is consent?
And what's not?
Consent is based on choice.
Consent is active, not passive.
Consent is giving permission without feeling pressure.
What is not consent?
Silence.
Passed out.
Intoxicated.
Fear.
Is
not consent.
God consent?
Ask.
Sex without consent is a crime. Only yes means yes.
Welcome back to CATSweek. The Bloomington City Council deliberated the approval of economic development revenue bonds and lend proceeds for the renovations of affordable housing at Crestmont. Director of the Bloomington Housing Authority, Amber Scobie, spoke about the project location during their February 3rd meeting.
The Crestmont community, it's on the northwest side of Bloomington, west of Monroe Street, north of 12th Street, east of Lindbergh Drive, and just south of 15th Street. It's also the location of our main office, nearby amenities like the Ferguson Crestmont Boys and Girls Club, Tri-North Middle School.
Scobie said the Housing Authority would maintain ownership of the property. However, federal subsidies would be received differently. She said the Bloomington Rental Assistance Demonstration Program would acquire ownership of the housing units to receive tax credits.
And under this renovation and conversion through HUD's Rental Assistance Demonstration Program, we're changing the way that we receive our federal subsidy from public housing to the Housing Choice Voucher Program. So that's a change from Section 9 financing to Section 8 financing, and that rental subsidy comes in on what we call a HAP contract, a housing assistance payment contract. Is that Section 8 money that will act as the subsidy for the units. It's much more stable financing, and generally Congress funds it better than public housing funding, which can change dramatically year to year.
Scobie said renovations would bring units up to code requirements such as handicap accessibility, structural repair, unit modernization, and energy efficiency. She also said that resident relocation during renovation would be paid for by the Bloomington Housing Authority.
We do use our property management team to meet with residents and help go through a survey and really figure out if there are any special needs. Maybe there are accessibility concerns, or someone has special instructions for moving. Those all get asked and discussed. And then we do hire a moving service to help move the tenants. So all of that is paid for by the project and by the Housing Authority.
The council unanimously approved the bonds for housing renovation. During their February 3rd meeting, County Planner Tammy Bierman presented 3 variances for a storage structure in Bean Blossom Township to the Monroe County Board of Zoning Appeals. She spoke about the structure being built on a sinkhole conservancy area.
We did have the structure was in a sinkhole, which now leads to these other 2 variances that are being requested. 2101-BIR-01. A buildable area variance from Chapter 804, specifically sinkhole conservancy areas. And then also 2101-VAR-02, the sinkhole conservancy area standards variance from Chapter 829.
Bierman said that Patriot Engineering environmental firm performed a karst analysis of the area where the structure was built in April of 2020. She spoke of the 4 conditions based off of the engineering firm and County MS4 coordinator reports.
So one is to submit a final plat amendment petition to satisfy the MS4 coordinator's request to amend the sinkhole conservancy area and add a drainage easement to lot 26 of the Pinewood subdivision as depicted in Exhibit 6. And I did not, it's this one here. So kind of redefining not this yellow, but the red, and having a drainage easement on the lot. And then 2 would be to add a note to the plat stating nothing is to be placed in the drainage easement. And of course the plat is signed by the owner. So that would also satisfy Stormwater MS4 coordinator's comments. And number 3 is submit a grading permit application for review prior to any further construction or installing culvert for the driveway as referred to in Exhibit 5. And again, where this drainage is, there's a driveway that crosses here. And we just want to make sure that all the water flowing off the structure would continue down towards the ravine this way.
Bierman said the 4th condition was for petitioners to submit a residential driveway permit application. Attorney Michael Carmen said an additional condition could redirect any drainage from the shed roof to the drainage easement area. The board approved the variance with 5 conditions. The Ellettsville Plan Commission approved final plat approval for the Burns subdivision during their February 4th meeting. Planning Director Kevin Talati explained the request.
Right now, it's a 1 lot, about 14.5 acres that they basically are going to split in half. About 1/10 of an acre will go to right of way. It's zoned single family residential. There's a house on the 1 lot. The 2nd lot will just have a barn so that something else could be built on that in the future. All the structures are going to meet the setbacks. They won't even be close. So that won't be an issue.
Petitioner Rusty Burns said they may build a smaller home on the lot with the shed and sell the larger home on the neighboring lot. The Plan Commission unanimously approved the final plat. And that is all for CATSweek. Thank you for joining us. For CATS and WFHB, I'm Annalise Poorman.